Hi, kids. Okay, next up is Jaws, 1975, based on the novel by Peter Benchley. It's Peter Benchley's first novel, picked up by Universal Studios for development before it had even been released. So, how does that happen? Unpublished book gets picked up, first time author. It probably helped that Peter's father was also a writer. It probably helped that Peter's brother was an actor. Probably helped that Peter's grandfather was a writer, an actor, humorist. Um, he was one of the founders of a group of humorists and intellectuals called the Algonquin Round Table. Um, some of the members included people like Harpo Marx from the Marx Brothers and Herman J. Mankiewicz, um, co-writer of Citizen Kane. If you've seen the film Mank with Gary Oldman, that's Herman. So it's probably, my guess, is how that happened. Um, the producing team of Richard Zanuck and David Brown were the ones who picked it up. Both of them read it and immediately wanted to make it. They were very excited. So they started developing it, and they started finding a director to direct it. So, of course, they found Dick Richards, right? Dick Richards is going to direct Jaws. The only problem was they didn't really gel well with Dick Richards during pre-production, and Dick Richards kept referring to the shark as a whale. So they decided to look elsewhere. Meanwhile, this guy named Steven Spielberg is finishing production on his first feature film, Sugarland Express, at the same studio, in and out of the same offices, sees Jaws on the desk, reads through it, expresses interest. So you're hired, right? You like it. Don't call it a whale. It's your job. So they start production. They start a schedule. It's supposed to film for like 55 days. They want to hurry things up because there is a Screen Actors Guild coming up, and they don't want that to get in the way of their production. So they gotta move fast. When they optioned the novel, they told Peter Benchley that he could write the screenplay. So they let him write the screenplay. But he's got to hurry up too, because there's a Writers Guild strike coming up. So they get those things done, and then the troubles come with casting. They're having trouble casting the parts. Zanuck and Brown want names. Spielberg doesn't mind having names, but he doesn't want stars. He doesn't want stars to distract from the story and the characters he wants to create. In fact, much like with Psycho and Hitchcock, Spielberg likes the story, but he's really only committed to the third act, the end. He wants to rework the first two acts. So it goes through a bunch of writers, and Spielberg wants to make the characters more likable, and he wants to get rid of a lot of the subplots, make it a leaner story. So that's what they do. Having trouble casting still. I think it's less than 2 weeks before they still have a lot of the roles uncast before they're supposed to start filming. Spielberg's friends with a guy named George Lucas. You might have heard of him. Lucas had made American Graffiti, with Richard Dreyfuss, and he recommended Dreyfuss to Spielberg, so that's how he ends up in the movie. And then, of course, Spielberg, it's only his second feature. He's young, he's brash. He insists on filming it on the ocean. So, that causes problems as well. They decide, after realizing that they can't train a shark, they decide to make a robo shark. So they have 3 robotic sharks on set. The crew name them Bruce. The sharks were not working all the time, right? So Spielberg had to film around that. Changes a lot of the way he wanted to film the movie. Originally, he wanted it to be like a monster movie with a shark. But a lot of things he wants the shark to do, it doesn't do. And yeah, the crew named the shark after Spielberg's lawyer, Bruce. So it's named Bruce. And they have trouble shooting. So much so that the shoot goes 100 days over schedule, which actually works out. They're able to adapt. Spielberg changes the way he wants to shoot it, becomes more of a suspense thriller than the sensational monster movie he wants. They also have time to bring in different writers. The actors go over the script. They work things out, and they fine-tune things, right? So that's an advantage. Disadvantage is the original budget for the movie was $6 million, and it soars up to $9 million. So that's a pretty big change, right? 3 million more than the 6 it was supposed to be, 50% more. And then, of course, the score. Spielberg had just finished Sugarland Express. He had John Williams doing the music for that, his first movie. So he asks John Williams to do the movie for Jaws, or the music for Jaws. John Williams, up to that point, was as much of a he worked in TV as much as he had done movies, maybe probably more so. So John Williams does the score, comes up with that theme that you all know. First time he plays it for Spielberg laughs, thinks it's a joke, but it works out all pretty well, right? It kind of becomes like a Pavlov's dog type situation. You hear those 2 notes, you know the shark is coming. Get on the edge of your seat a little bit. So, Jaws is the first summer blockbuster. Comes out, I think, in June 20th, which up to that point, the summer was traditionally where you dumped the movies that you weren't sure of. It was the movie dumping grounds. Anything that you thought was a surefire hit, that was in the winter months. So the release schedule for studios was completely different prior to Jaws than what it is now, right? Now your dumping grounds are your January, February, if there is even dumping grounds anymore, right? We live in a blockbuster dominated industry for the movies. Jaws creates that. Zanuck and Brown, right? They were really keen on the novel. The novel comes out just prior to production of the movie. It's a big hit. They love the story. They film, test screen the movie. They think they got a big hit there. So they decide to swing for the fences. Big promotional. They send Benchley and everybody out to radio stations for months and months in advance promoting the book. They have a big marketing strategy. They have merchandise tie-ins, and they decide to release it on 464 screens. Release schedules also were different. So, for comparison, The Exorcist was originally released 24 screens, right? So traditionally, at this point, movie would come out in 24 screens, and then it would slowly open wider. They decide to open wide right away. And it pays off, right? Because their $9 million budget, they make back $476 million. It becomes the highest grossing movie of all time, and it stays that way until Star Wars. But this is the start of blockbusters. This is what puts Spielberg in his spot as Spielberg, right? He goes on to just dominate Hollywood. We live in a Spielberg-dominated world. We might not realize it, but we do. What else do I have here? I think I covered about everything, most things. The farther I get in the series, the more recent the movies become, the more information that everybody already knows about these things, right? Yeah, so there's the birth of the blockbuster. Just like with Psycho and its release strategy and everything, and the way that people after seeing it were afraid to go into the showers. People were afraid to go into the water after Jaws. That's Jaws. Next up, gonna go another year. And I would like, if I may, to take you on a journey. It'll be something completely different from what we've done so far. Thanks, guys. Like, subscribe. See you later.